Foreign Minister Penny Wong is in the Middle East, where she's pledged to nearly double humanitarian aid funding, while saying she is gravely concerned by worsening conditions in Gaza. Joining me is Deputy Opposition Leader Sussan Ley. Sussan, thanks so much for your time. Foreign Minister Penny Wong has as I just said, has announced Australia will provide an extra $21.5 million in humanitarian aid, which would focus on the growing refugee crisis stemming from the war between Hamas and Israel. The Red Cross and the UN relieve some of the beneficiaries. She says the situation in Gaza is dire. Do you support this aid and refugee funding announcement?
Well, good morning, Kenny, and it's better late than never for the Foreign Minister to visit the region. It really has taken too long. Of course, we support more humanitarian aid going to those affected, devastated, and the crisis is on our TV screens every day, and the incredibly sad stories that we're all hearing make us worry about the situation in Gaza and in Israel more broadly. But I think it's unforgivable that Penny Wong has not visited the massacre sites. I hope she changes her mind on that. She should see the areas that on October the 7th changed this landscape forever, both politically and for the communities. That she is not there to see the damage wrought by the terrorists on that day, I think is extraordinary. She's still over there. She has time to change her mind.
OK. In the Australian today, high inflation, labour shortages, high power prices and supply chain issues have been blamed for almost 1,650 manufacturing and construction businesses plunging into insolvency in the final half of last year, according to ASIC data. Thousands of jobs at risk. And I guess if you're a company who moves its business overseas or shutters its doors, it's not coming back. What's your reaction to this data this morning?
It's incredibly concerning and incredibly disappointing. Now, we might remember Anthony Albanese saying he was going to be a Prime Minister and this was going to be a government that made more things in Australia. Well, with the tripling of insolvencies in manufacturing businesses in just the last 2 years, we're making a lot less in this country than we ever have before. And I do not see any relief in sight. There's no economic plan. There's been extraordinary interventions in the market for energy, industrial relations and so on. They've actually taken certainty away from these businesses. Now, the government's got a signature manufacturing fund, and I'm sure that if you speak to any Labor member, they'll parrot out those lines, Kenny. The National Reconstruction Fund. Well, it passed the Parliament nearly a year ago. It hasn't delivered one single cent to a manufacturing business. Yesterday, the Prime Minister said that it was open for business, effectively indicating that you could apply and get money from this fund. Well, the fund's own website says it's in a start-up phase. I mean, this is dreadful. This is outrageous, and this is downright deceitful of the Prime Minister and the government to act as if they have support. They took away our modern manufacturing initiative and they've left a vacant space here for our manufacturing businesses.
OK, the National Reconstruction Fund, which the Coalition voted against, is designed to turbocharge the manufacturing sector. If not the NRF, what should the government be doing instead?
We voted against this because it's the wrong policy for the wrong time, and the current circumstances clearly illustrate that. You actually don't want the government taking an equity stake in your business, which is what this is. It's like a giant bank. Remember, the money is not there to be given to businesses. It's there to be invested with the interest only available and so on. So it's just not anything like our policy, which actually produced more jobs for manufacturers, more investment, more R&D, and was what manufacturers were calling for. But it's unforgivable, Kenny, that this fund is not actually allocating any money at this point in time, because this is tough times for manufacturers. Look at what they've had to deal with energy. Look at the closures across this country. Alumina refinery in Alcoa, Sara Lee, an iconic brand, going into voluntary administration, Hero, which produces cleaning products, similarly, and the offshoring of jobs. We've seen Labor ministers stand in front of Tritium, a Brisbane company that makes electric car chargers, that said they can't do it in Australia anymore. They're offshoring their manufacturing process. Come on, something needs to change on behalf of our hardworking manufacturers. And we do want to make things in Australia, and we have the policies to do that. We had the policies to do that. Labor seriously does not.
OK, we'll leave it there. Thanks, Sussan Ley. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kenny.